Good morning, Year 4s, and welcome to Lesson 9 of Adding Fractions. Today I'd like for you to firstly have a look at our In Focus task. It says here that there is 4/5 of a strawberry pie and 3/5 of a blackcurrant pie of the same size. How many pies are there all together? Now we're going to be breaking this down, but I want you to have a think at the questions that you're being asked. First of all, how many pies are there all together? Now it is a bit misleading because I'm sure some of you will say, well, of course, Miss Solo, there's one pie over here and a second pie over here. But remember, we're looking at fractions of a pie and we need to find out how many make one whole. Let's watch on. So from yesterday's lesson, we already had a go at adding fractions. So we are going to be continuing with that today. So we can see that we've got to add 4/5 of the strawberry pie to 3/5 of the blackcurrant pie. And you can see that we've got this lovely fraction number sentence here for you. Can anyone remember some of the rules when adding fractions from yesterday? Brilliant. Now I'm hoping that you'll remember that the denominator stays the same because we're dealing with fifths. We're not adding the two fives together to make 10. We are dealing with fifths, and our question has already told us that. So now we need to add the numerators. 4 plus 3, that's going to give me, brilliant, that's going to give me 7. So we know that we've got 7/5 of cake. But my question down here is asking, how many fifths do we need to make a whole? I'm hoping from the previous slide that you were able to recognize how many fifths make a whole. If you need to look at the pies in the picture above, please do so. I'll give you a moment. Lovely. So we can see up here that we've got one pie and it's been split into fifths. And we know that 5/5 will therefore equal one whole pie. But that's not the question that we're being asked right now. I do want to show you this other method to try and help you, because sometimes we don't always have the pictures and images available. And this is another useful way to help when adding fractions. So we know that we've got 4/5 of the strawberry pie and 3/5 of the blackcurrant pie. What we're going to be doing is we are going to be partitioning these 3/5, and we're going to be breaking it down and partitioning it to 1/5 and 2/5. So all we need to do now is we know that we've got 4/5 of the strawberry pie, and we're going to be adding the 1/5 from this other pie. And I'm almost going to kind of cross this in here, and let's pretend I've taken this slice and I've moved it over here. And we can see now that we have gotten one whole pie, and then we've got 2/5 left over. Have we answered the question? Of course we have, because we're Year 4s and we're amazing. We know exactly what we're doing with fractions. But just have a look at how the number sentence has been done up here. You can see that instead of even writing 7/5, it's just gone straight into one whole and 2/5, and the pictures have been there to help you. Right, let's move on and have a go at some more. Right, for our first guided practice question today, I want you to have a look at the top here. We've got 3 different bars and it's all showing different fractions. Now there's going to be 3 questions and we're going to work through them together. I'm going to show you 2 methods. Now either method is fine, it's whatever works for you. So this is where you start figuring out what is your best method. Okay, so we're being asked, can we add 4/7 and 6/7? So we're going to be looking at these bars here only. How are we going to start this off? What are you going to do to help yourselves? Okay, so you might start by adding the numerators first. So 4 plus 6 is going to give us 10, and we know that the denominator stays the same. Now we need to break that down even more, because remember we're trying to find the wholes and the leftovers as well. So let's start breaking down the 6/7 even more. Let's partition it to different sevenths. What can I potentially do with that? Any ideas? Okay, so 6/7, we're going to partition it into 3/7 and another 3/7. And now I'm going to add one of my 3/7 to my 4/7. And we know that that's going to equal 1 whole, because 7 sevenths equals 1 whole. Then how many sevenths do I have left over, guys? Lovely, I'm going to have 3 sevenths left over. So 4 sevenths plus 6 sevenths equals 1 and 3 sevenths. Now let's move on to the second question of our guided practice, and we're being asked to add 4 sevenths and 2 sevenths. Now I love this maths no problem question because it actually have the visuals, and that really does help me as well. I almost want to kind of move these 2 green sevenths and then move them over to the bars that are left over here to try and help, which you're more than welcome to do. So let's start with our number sentence, and what can we do to help ourselves first? Brilliant. We can see that 4 sevenths plus 2 sevenths is going to give us 6 sevenths. Now, do we need to do anything else to that number? No, we can see that in fact when we add these two fractions together, it's still less than 1 whole. So this is all we can make of it. So it's going to be 6 sevenths just as it is. Okay, for our last guided practice, we're now being asked to add 6 sevenths with 2 sevenths. Let's have a go. What are we going to do first, guys? Okay, so we might start by adding our numerator. So 6 plus 2 is going to give us 8. And we know that the denominator stays the same. You might even have a look over here. We can see that, right, we've got one little gap here to fill. How many does that mean we have whole and how many sevenths left over? Any ideas? Well, we know that 7 sevenths equals 1 whole, and then we know that we've got 1 seventh left over. So 6 sevenths plus 2 sevenths is going to give us 1 and 1 seventh. Okay guys, so these next 3 questions are going to be independent work, and I'm going to ask you in a moment to pause the video, have a go at working these questions out and filling in those missing boxes. Now the larger boxes, these last 3 ones at the end, are for your final answers. Remember to take your time, have a go, and once you feel you've done your best, come back, and the next slide is where we go through all the questions together and the answers are revealed. Best of luck. Okay, so let's have a go at working these out all together. We're on the second question up here. So we know that 2 ninths plus 8 ninths is going to give us 10 ninths, but we need to break that down a bit more. We know that 9 ninths equals 1 whole, and then that means we're going to have 1 little ninth left over. So your first answer should be 1 and 1 ninth. Well done. Let's try this second one. Now this kind of looks a bit confusing, I know, but hopefully you managed to work it out. We know that 4 plus 4 is going to give us 8 sevenths, but that is also equal to what? We know that's also equal to 1 and 1 seventh, but instead of having that addition sign, we need to be writing it like this, 1 and 1 seventh. Brilliant. Now, question 4 is a bit tricky because it's not just 2 fractions we're adding together. We've been asked to add 3 fractions, which is quite, a bit of a jump. Anyway, hopefully you managed to have a go and try to work it out. So let's work it out together now. 7 plus 5 is going to give us 12 plus 1. So we know that that's 13 twelfths. And then we're going to be breaking that down, and we know that 12 twelfths is going to give us 1 whole, but we've got one little guy left over, and we know that we write that then as 1 and 1 twelfth. If at any time you feel like you've muddled up a bit, that's absolutely fine. This is just a practice go. So remember, you can always pause, rewind, try it again, but hopefully now it's a bit clearer and you're feeling a bit more ready to move on to your own work. Now that we've had a go at working all of these out, I'd like for you to return to today's class story to find the worksheets attached. Remember that you're writing the date and try your best, show your workings out, and at any time you can always come back to this lesson and watch it to help. Best of luck, can't wait to see your answers. Bye for now.